Next up, we have Takeshi Ando and Edin Osmanovic, both from Panasonic. However, first let me start by telling you that Panasonic is actively pushing the evolution of robotics, driving, participating, contributing, and supporting. For over 20 years, we've been at the forefront of the robotics industry, in both leading and powering the revolution from behind the scenes. Today, we've gathered our experts from Panasonic to share with you what will be both holistic and a deep dive overview on Panasonic's strategy for further developments of the robotic solutions.
But before we do that, Becca, I've got a fun fact for you. So I was extremely busy over the weekend, working, as I often do, and I was counting up patents globally. So I was looking at the businesses, and I found that actually Panasonic is one of the top 10 global AI patent holders. Isn't that interesting, Becca?
Great fact, Dan. Nice to see how you're spending weekends so dedicated to Panasonic. So, currently, robotic solutions are advancing in healthcare, logistics, and even our daily lives, particularly following the learnings from the COVID-19 outbreak. Whilst it wasn't a catalyst, the pandemic has definitely accelerated the ongoing transformation, one that was already being driven by the dawn of aging societies. Panasonic has devoted a great proportion of R&D to foster its development and evolution. The company also holds many key technologies, such as sensor families, which build the foundation for robotic technologies. So now, I will pass over to Ando-san in Japan to give a little bit more background onto this topic. Over to you, Ando-san.
In my work, I regard this as a Panasonic key challenge. How do we take the technology we have or that we are developing and apply them to the most important issue facing our societies? Panasonic's traditional strength in the robotics has been in the manufacturing side. This heritage and competence is the foundation of our strategy. One example of how we are doing this is the development of HOSPI, which is autonomous delivering robot deployed in the hospital. We will explain the details shortly. Its foundation is rooted in the automated guided vehicle we have been producing. This application has been expanded beyond hospital for use as both personal mobility robot and for cleaning. Creating a better life via robotics is something we want to deliver to the customer as rapid as possible. To accelerate that process, we have both established a solid technological team called Robotics Hub. We have a physical space in both Tokyo and Osaka, and as many as 700 employees from various parts of Panasonic, includes not only R&D, but also sales and design are involved. The platform also facilitates open innovation. By collaborating with various technological partners and academia, we are already conducting projects with several institutes. That includes ETH in Switzerland and the Munich Technical University on smart mobility. We will offer our robotics technological and solution at a lower cost in a shorter time by actively using an open source software called ROS, a robot operating system. And we are focused on the enhanced modularization for sales and reliable movement. The key is to maximize the volume of these modules we can create to solve different social needs as quickly as possible. A clear trend in both Japan and Europe is aging society, the decline in the working age population, which in turn leads to the labor shortage. Our main priority has been our long-held competence in automation. The more tasks that can be automated, the less impact labor shortage have. We all want to continue to lead active and fulfilling lives. To be able to walk or visit the bathroom unassisted, to eat on our own. To achieve that, We believe technology should augment human capability. Augmentation is a new field in robotics, so let me expand a little. While automation prioritizes efficiency and productivity, augmentation has two areas of focus: to directly support human capability or capacity in the physical sense, and to enrich people's lives. An example of directly supporting human capability is our development of an artificial third hand, controlled by human wearing it, so that they can be even more independent than before when moving the large or heavier object. On the other hand, we are conducting a POC of the communication robot called Baby Papa. Baby Papa is a set of 3 robots that can communicate with children and capture the photo of them that are automatically sent to their parents. The main purpose is to enrich the emotional connection between child and parents. These are just a few examples of the kind of value augmentation can bring to the people.
Thank you, Ando-san. It really helps to see the direction Panasonic is taking. Next up, we have Edin from Panasonic in Europe to share current cases for both directions for the combined retail and logistics area. Edin, take it away.
Very much appreciated. As you mentioned earlier, we have seen an acceleration of robotics usage this year due to the pandemic. Research group Statista now estimates that the global warehouse automation market will increase from 15 billion last year to 30 billion to 2026. In addition to that, Yano Research Institute projects Japan's logistics robotics market alone will expand by a third in the 2020 to 2021 fiscal year to $167 million. But it's not all about the impact of COVID-19. The uprising of omnichannel retailing, the need for increased productivity, and the use of green technology in business operations are some of the prominent factors that have driven demand for robotics. Automation and the increasing use of robotics technology run like a red thread through the entire supply chain. From our point of view, the retail and logistics sector offers the greatest potential for new applications, alongside the use in elderly care or the inclusion of people with disabilities. We are not alone with this assessment. The experts of the IFR Association came to the same conclusion. From our point of view, the increasing progress of automation in this area has many facets. The first example shows how one can fundamentally optimize established processes with established technologies that have been tested umpteen times. We call the solution Visual Sort Assist, and this is how it works. It combines, on one side, image recognition, specifically object recognition, and on the other side, projection mapping. The central element is a conveyor belt on which operators can place packages when they have been unloaded from the truck after the arrival in a factory. The parcels are loaded onto the conveyor belt, where the Visual Sort Assist solution scans the barcodes and projects the priority onto the parcels. We have here a recent use case from a leading automotive company that uses our system. Here, the system is integrated in an Industry 4.0 strategy. Panasonic delivered an engineering solution for Continental Factory in Regensburg in 2020, implementing state-of-the-art technology and a process upgrade. The solution included process analysis, technical hardware optimization, as well as a direct integration into the SAP warehouse management system. Also, we want to stress that it's not all about AI-based applications. Sometimes intelligence really resides in people who use established technology in new and creative ways, as another example from our customer shows. Panasonic has a long history of being a market leader in AV technology. The latest in this area are so-called ESL, or electronic shelf labels. The small devices look like the normal deal, but are digital. The technology is actually not that new in the market. What is new is the easiness of installation and the scale of the projects. For a 3,000 square meter store in the UK, the complete installation was delivered within 1 day, including the connection to the company's ERP and warehouse system. With this speed, the return of investment is achieved much faster, an expected 1.5 years at the use case I described. With continuous changes of availability of sold-out products during COVID-19, the store management was seeing up to 850 items being sold for the wrong price. Also, an important driver behind this project is another reason. The management wanted to reduce the times the staff needed to be on the shop floor and being potentially exposed to COVID. Other customers have used the ESLs even for COVID-19 warnings. They have been broadcasting via the label a reminder to people regarding the social distancing requirements. This has been done with messages such as, "Please wear your mask," and "Respect social distancing." Last but not least, some of you might already be familiar with the Power Assist suite, which is one of the solutions supposed to help coping with an aging workforce. The exoskeleton is used in logistics, but also in healthcare, and we have had first test runs here in Europe.
Loaders throughout the day can carry the equivalent of 2 to 3 elephants, which is quite a heavy amount.
Panasonic make some product to reduce the burden on your backs. Our equipment is already used in many kinds of business fields. Construction, warehouse, and logistics is the main usage. And we spread out all the business fields like agriculture and welfare and the sports events.
Yeah, it's really efficient to use, just a few buttons and it's on and working, ready to go.
I think it definitely helps the lower back as you're picking up the material, and it kind of gives you a boost of force as you're lifting it, which definitely takes a lot of the stress off your back.
Since last year, we have been asked by our customers from the industry when they can finally test it. I am more than happy to say that we now have 2 Power Assist suits here in Munich, and even better, the suit will be introduced to Europe next year. One of the many areas of the application of the Power Assist suit is healthcare, which is a good transition to hand the baton to Takeshi.
Thank you, Edin, for sharing that. We are all extremely excited by these developments on the logistic front. There is a real potential in that space for Panasonic. Building on what Edin just said, I'd like to introduce specific case example we already have within the healthcare and agriculture area. As I mentioned earlier, in the second half of this century, most of the industrialized world will face what we already a looming reality for Japan, an aging society colliding with the declining population. Let me just provide a few data points to give you a sense of the challenges. By 2025, 1 in every 3 people in Japan will be aged 65 or older. With ever-increasing demand on the healthcare system, staffing shortage of up to 400,000 trained nurses are realistic. The social security will increase, but a smaller labor force will contribute through taxes. That's why Panasonic is already working hard on this along 2 vectors. The first, to increase to the self-management or independence of elderly for as long as possible, including through the augmentation. The second is to support healthcare staff to deliver efficient and effective care. We already have several IoT and robotic solutions in place, including the 3 I'm about to be introduced. We have developed PIMO, an autonomous electric wheelchair. The wheelchair can identify its own position, select the route, and automatically move to the destination input by a smartphone. In addition, a platooning function with tandem movement allows a family or groups using multiple wheelchairs to move together in a column. After use, the wheelchair automatically returns to the designated location. Intended for crowded areas such as airport, and autonomous electric wheelchair is equipped with the image recognition technology, self-position sensor, and obstacle detecting LiDAR sensor. So it can be moved autonomously and safely even in a crowd. It utilizes the autonomous mobility technology originally developed for the Panasonic autonomous delivering robot HOSPI, an example of the out-developing we discussed earlier. PIMO was commercialized in Japan in November 2020. Another application for the robotics in healthcare is a walking training robot, currently being used in some rehabilitation as a nursing care facility. Earlier, I mentioned that one aspect of augmentation was helping people to walk on their own, no matter their age or other conditions. Walking affects many activities in daily life and is the first step back towards an independent lifestyle after an injury or stroke. This form of augmentation really supports self-reliance and rehabilitation. The exercise load is based on the AI analysis of the user's walking ability. The resistance is automatically optimized. The robot also store analyze results, which can be used to monitor progress and motivate users. Finally, one of our most pivotal applications is HOSPI, which is already commercialized in Japan and Singapore.
I'm HOSPI.
HOSPI originated from our know-how in factory automation. It is able to autonomously transport medical supplies and other items throughout a facility, replacing the need for the nurse or laboratory technician to use their valuable time. Crucially, HOSPI is extremely reliable. It has been delivering objects for 7 years without an incident. And during this pandemic, its contactless nature has also been highly appreciated. In terms of movement, high-performance sensor detects and avoids danger such as people and objects. At the staircase and other danger spots, HOSPI employs triple safeguard by a visible light and other method. Scanning an authentication tag unlocks the storage compartment. It is also possible to leave a record of who inserts and withdraws the contents and when. By running operations through a network, it is possible to deliver the contents anywhere in the hospital, even using elevator and passing through the automatic door. This use of our factory automation heritage provides one solution to the labor shortage, and we expect to hugely expand the presence of autonomous delivering robots over the coming few years to improve efficiency of hospital operation and information transfer. Some of you might already be familiar with the tomato picking robot. If not, please let us know. The agriculture sector is facing a severe reality. The number of the people engaged in agriculture in Japan is decreasing, and the rural population are getting older. Agriculture high-tech is one of the measures seen as the solution to this problem. One example is that harvesting robots driven by AI and robotics technology are gaining attention. The aim is to automate around 20% of all agricultural work, two robots in order to increase efficiency. Application based on the cooperation with the Edin leading the engineering university in Switzerland is the robotics weeding system. The Edin is driving the development, and Panasonic is proud to have become one of the partners on this amazing project. The robot detects the weeds with a camera in the field and destroys them with a small plows. In conclusion, I'd like to repeat a few key points. At Panasonic, robotics is true source of company pride. We are totally driven to the user our rich experience in industrial automation. The first, we view the aging society and associated labor shortage as a challenge that robotics can and must address. In this, Japan is at the forefront. The secondly, we will achieve this by harnessing a combination of automation and augmentation technology developed for the industrial application and apply them to the wide range of solutions. And thirdly, the Panasonic is already putting this into practice by the Robotics Hub, as well as several solutions in Japan and Europe that both automate and augment the lives of this and the future of the generation. With that, I would like to close my remarks. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Endo-san and Edin. I never realised how much I needed a baby papa in my life until now, so I'm really excited to get my hands on one of them. But also the tomato picker, I think that'll be really useful for picking up clothes in my house, because I tend to be quite messy. And we're now going to bring back Edin for a bit of a Q&A. So, Edin, if you can appear. It's like magic.
Hello, guys.
Hi,
Hello.
Edin. Thanks for joining us, Edin. So we're just checking the chat now. We're going to see if we've got any questions for you. So the first one to get you started is the visual sort assist developed for the automotive industry specifically, or is it also applicable to other kind of warehouse operations?
Okay. Well, the short answer to that is that the visual sort assist is, of course, also applicable to other kind of operations. So originally, it was developed for a parcel provider for the last mile sorting. And then when we showcased it at our exhibitions, customers from other industries approached us and showed their interest. So, for instance, like Continental Automotive. So today, I can say we have several installations across Europe. Just two examples. One is with a 3PL provider who operates a warehouse for fashion brand and does the sorting with the visual sort assist there. And then there's another major parcel provider that ships parcels to the Nordics. And they have a hub in northern Germany where they have to sort 50,000 parcels each day, put them on trucks, which then drive to other hubs in Finland, Sweden, and Denmark. So the basic principle always stays the same. So the main idea is to project sorting information onto the parcels to increase the efficiency of the sorting operation. What changes are mainly three things. The first one is the design. So we do a proper analysis of the customer requirements. We apply service design thinking to come up with an idea of the design of the system so that it fits seamlessly in the customer's environment. The other main element is the system integration. So this is important for building an interface between our system and the customer's ERP or warehouse management system to ensure automated data exchange in real time. And then the third one is regarding the parcels themselves. They will look differently from customer to customer in terms of shape, and color, and size, and so on. So here AI comes into play. So we apply deep learning, capturing thousands and thousands of pictures of the parcels and feeding our system with them in order to increase a recognition rate and the accuracy of the system. So in summary, yes, the visual sort assist is definitely applicable also to other sorting operations. Thanks.
Perfect, thank you, Edin. So the next question, it's about ROI. I love an ROI question. So with the electronic shelf labels, what's the typical ROI on them? I think in the case study it says 1.5 years. Is that typical?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that question.
Okay, so ROI on the electronic shelf labels. What's the sort of typical return period? Is it like 1.5 years? Is that typical?
So didn't come through completely, but I understood ROI of the ESL solution. So yeah, basically there are many drivers for the ROI. The main drivers are definitely number of articles in a shop, the number of price changes in a certain period of time, and then also the margin of a product. And when we look at the cost cutter case study that I presented earlier, there were two major drivers for the customer to make the decision to invest into ESL. The first one was to reduce the costs by automizing the price changes. With that, they increased their store efficiency because they got rid of this manual work. And this was also the main, let's say, basis for the investment decision, because it was, well, we could calculate it with our ROI calculator, and the result was an expected ROI of 3 years. And the reason why it later became 1.5 years was because the second driver was that the customer was able to increase his sales by 10%. This was because he was able to promote certain articles on the shelf labels. And this is a quote from the original case study that is available on our homepage, that after a while, the customer could see sales increase of 10. And that's why the expected ROI is now rather 1.5 years than 3 years. So for anyone who's interested into these ESL, we developed a calculator that is available on our homepage. Just Google ESL calculator Panasonic, and you can type in some basic information and you will get immediately the payback. Yeah? So you can have easily the first idea if it's worthwhile to invest in such a solution. Thanks.
Thanks, Edin. And if Rachel's on the call, she can put the chat to the ROI calculator for you in the chat.